was declared brain dead for 37 hours and returned with a message. My name is Ethan, born in 1990, and my journey from the brink of death to a revelation that shook my very soul is something I can hardly put into words. I grew up in a modest household where my parents' sacrifices were the silent pillars holding our fragile world together. We struggled financially, yet the greatest hardships were the wounds hidden deep in their hearts. A pain born not solely of poverty, but of life's relentless uncertainties. A fateful childhood. I still remember the torrential rains of my childhood vividly. It was a season when the skies wept continuously, and after days of unyielding storms, the small creek near our home burst its banks. In a single night, the water swallowed the neighborhood whole. With no money to spare and few resources left, my parents found themselves staring into an abyss of uncertainty. Desperate and terrified for our lives, they did something they had never done before. They gathered around our worn-out kitchen table, clasped each other's hands tightly, and prayed, not with recited words or formal rituals, but with raw, unfiltered desperation. As the storm raged on and the water crept closer, we huddled in silence, clinging to that small beacon of hope. The following morning, when the floodwaters finally receded, we stepped outside in disbelief. Nearly every house around us lay in ruins, yet ours was miraculously untouched. That inexplicable miracle was not just a reprieve, it was a clear sign that our heartfelt plea had been answered. The lost years buoyed by that early encounter with divine intervention, I once believed that life held a higher purpose. But as I grew older, the trials of adolescence unraveled the tapestry of my early faith. A severe illness forced me to drop out of high school, and the once bright flame of hope began to flicker. Seeking escape from the pain of my setbacks, I drifted into dangerous habits. Casual substance use, smoking, and drinking quickly became a crutch, a temporary distraction that morphed into a self-destructive lifestyle. I took on jobs as a courier, hauling goods for long distances, burying my inner emptiness in the hum of engines and the ceaseless miles of road. The church gatherings I once attended regularly became infrequent, and I lost the connection I once had with the divine. The road to oblivion. My downward spiral seemed unstoppable until fate intervened one bleak day on a desolate stretch of highway. While driving a rented van, a violent robbery attempt left me with minor injuries. But more importantly, it was as if the universe had slammed a warning sign before me. For a time, I continued my nomadic lifestyle, moving from city to city in search of answers. The farther I traveled, the deeper I sank into a void of restless discontent, until one fateful day in August 2014 changed everything. I left the town of Silverwood with a clear plan: deliver a shipment, arrive by the 10th, and join a friend's birthday celebration the next day. But in my haste, I forgot the ancient wisdom found in Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. That very day, fate took a sinister twist. The van's brakes inexplicably failed, sending the vehicle careening off the road. In a terrifying moment of chaos, the van rolled over multiple times, crushing the cab and trapping me amidst a labyrinth of twisted metal. The searing pain gave way to an eerie detachment. My consciousness began to drift away from my broken body, a journey beyond life. Floating above the wreckage, I witnessed the rescue efforts with surreal clarity. Time seemed to slow, and I discovered an unsettling ability. I could steer my awareness at will. Compelled by an inexplicable urge, I decided to go home. I soared above the rooftops, drifting through a realm where the laws of time and space no longer applied. Below, I saw my mother in our small kitchen, oblivious to the extraordinary events unfolding above her. I tried to call out, to reassure her with a whisper of love, but no sound emerged from my spectral form. In that suspended moment, a presence made itself known, a comforting yet enigmatic guide who communicated not with words, but through thoughts that resonated deeply within me. However, the comforting veil soon lifted, revealing my darkest memories. Every regret, every mistake, the time I hurt a friend, the moments I betrayed those who trusted me, and the sins I tried so desperately to bury, flashed before my eyes with excruciating intensity. The weight of my past sins pressed upon me, dragging me toward a chasm of despair. Descent into hell. Before I could comprehend what was happening, a force more powerful than any earthly gravity yanked me downward. I was hurled into a nightmare realm, a dark, oppressive place that reeked of decay and anguish. The very air was heavy with the stench of rot and sorrow, and every breath I took was laced with a metallic tang. Shapes moved in the shadows, twisted, deformed figures that embodied judgment and torment. Their silent accusations echoed through the darkness, and I felt the crushing weight of every misdeed. I was trapped, forced to relive every moment of my life's transgressions as if they were being replayed on a never-ending loop. As I struggled against the overwhelming despair, a ghastly vision emerged, a gathering of my loved ones at my own funeral. I saw my parents, my siblings, and friends with tear-streaked faces, their grief a mirror of my internal torment. My own coffin lay at the center, a symbol of finality that I was powerless to change. I yearned to cry out, "I'm here, I'm alive," but my voice was swallowed by the abyss. The ultimate choice. In the depths of that hellish vision, when I felt the abyss would consume me entirely, a sudden blaze of light shattered the darkness. A voice, powerful yet gentle, echoed around me. "The choice is yours, Ethan. Return and mend what has been broken." In that instant, I was pulled away from the torment, as if the very fabric of existence had granted me a reprieve. I awoke in a hospital bed, doctors astounded that I had been declared brain dead for 37 hours. They warned me that I might never fully recover, that the scars of death would mark me forever. But deep inside, I knew I had been given a second chance, a divine message etched into my soul. A new mission now. My life has taken on a weighty purpose. I understand that every moment is a battle between light and darkness, and that each choice we make can either tether us to despair or lift us toward redemption. My family, once drifting in the shadow of grief and lost faith, has begun to find solace in our shared journey back to hope. I share my story not as a morbid tale, but as an urgent call to awaken, to seek forgiveness, to embrace love, and to make choices that steer us away from the dark paths of regret. I have seen the very edge of eternity and felt the pull of a realm where every sin has its price. Heaven is real, a place of perfect, transcendent beauty, but it is only within reach if we choose to step away from our self-destruction. My experience in that hellish void is a warning. Do not let time slip away. Reconnect with what truly matters before it's too late. If you hear this message in your heart, take it as an invitation to change your life. Embrace the light, reach out for forgiveness, and let your soul be healed. For every soul is precious, and our choices define not only our destiny, but also the destiny of those we hold dear.